welcome to the Orlando podcast. How did that start? Did you make one for yourself, I assume? And then somebody was like, hey, that's really cool. Can you make me one? Is that how it
My
started?
mom made me one for the
Oh,
girls,
okay.
and I loved it. And I guess that bonding thing. I'm more of the conservative, like cover myself up sort of thing, and just wanted to do that. So like, here's one, and I decided to make it like reversible and make it like a pocket for the breast pads that the mother would have. Because I was like, where do I always put that? I don't know where to put that. That's kind of gross. Hide that.
Well, that's great. Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Orlando podcast. With me here today, I have Holly Fury. Hey, Holly, thanks for being here.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm great. Well, Holly, we'd like to go ahead and start the same way we always do. Tell me, why do you do what you do?
So I used to be in the operating room, and since I have my little girls, which are my two little sunshines, which is my logo, the C and the J are my daughter's first names.
Okay.
And from there, I took my hobby of making, just clothes for them and decided to turn into a business, as you can see, because obviously working in the operating room doesn't fit my girls' schedule.
Sure.
So there's no one to help me like watch them while I were to get called back into work. So I had to figure out a different solution. So I just took my hobby of sewing and tried to change it into something of a small business.
Yeah, well, that's very cool. How old are your daughters?
4.5 is Catalina, which is the C, and J is Josephine, and she's 2.
Okay, very
Yes.
fun. I'm sure they keep
Yeah.
you busy.
Just a little bit, yeah.
Okay.
Balancing mom life full time and the small business, but I figured it out. So that's the happy part.
I'm curious. I would assume that as a surgical technician, you made a decent wage, a decent living. Why not go back to work if you could afford childcare?
Childcare is very expensive, and although all the responsibilities put on a surgical technologist, we are very much underpaid.
Oh, okay.
So it would be like one of those, I would just be working to put them in daycare.
Got it.
So
Okay.
that's the unfortunate part. I absolutely loved it. My specialty was open heart surgery, which is pretty cool. Like, not a
Yeah.
lot of people can say that. Worked with fantastic people, but it just doesn't fit into the lifestyle of raising 2 little girls.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that makes sense. I mean, my wife and I have had conversations before about whether or not she's going to do certain contract work, and whether or not it would pay more than what it costs to have somebody come and take care of our daughter so that, we could all continue working. So that makes perfect sense. But I was just curious. So how did you start sewing? Where did, I think you mentioned you made clothes for your kids. Is that where it all started, or did it start somewhere long before that?
Long before that, to graduate, like from high school, boys
Uh-huh.
and girls had to have like cooking, shop, and sewing. So I learned how to sew in middle school, which is really funny. And then my mom just enjoyed making clothes for the girls, but she also made clothes for my sisters and I, which I loved those memories. So I wanted to bring those memories here and have it for, Catalina at first. And then I just really enjoyed it and, saw what I could make. So, I made family Christmas outfits one year. So it's a lot of fun. Now, I'm not to the point where one of my friends, she does clothes and she's fantastic. I wouldn't sell my clothes, but I would sell my aprons. So that's what I decided to go that way, because in the kitchen, I always loved wearing the aprons and dressing up and baking cookies with my mom. And I wanted to carry those same memories with the girls. And those are such fond memories that I wanted to, the rest of the world to feel the same things that I felt in the kitchen.
That's really cool. Where did you go to high school? Because not a lot of people had to take sewing from, when I went to high school. Shop class almost became a thing of the past in my timeline. So where did you go to school?
I'm originally from like the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania region,
Okay.
but it's called Latrobe. The school was called Derry, so you can go up towards Pittsburgh, find Latrobe, which is like the Steelers training camp, Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, the first banana split. Arnold Palmer, for example, who built, funds
Yeah.
built Arnold Palmer. Um, that little city is called Latrobe, but inside there is Derry, Pennsylvania. So that's where I went.
Okay. Very cool. It's just really interesting. You don't hear about that very often. I actually think it's a disservice to kids to not get the opportunity to work with their hands in a shop class of some capacity, because some people may find they really enjoy that kind of work. So you enjoyed sewing, or you learned how to sew. You had these great memories with your mom. How did it start to kind of turn into a business?
Just feeling the financial struggle from the pandemic, feeling unsocial and losing what an adult or a parent can be, not having those adult friends. Stumbled upon certain people at certain areas, and it just got to talking. And why don't you take what you just did, making breastfeeding covers is what it started out as, and turn that into something. So I went from there, and Catalina was like, why don't we have matching aprons, mommy? So that's where we went from there. And then um, other small businesses have suggested things along the way, and I've just kind of, well, how would I want that? Envisioned it, and I just sort of made it. No
Got it.
pattern necessary. I just kind of put my creativity together, and it's expanded. And I'm super, honored and blessed to have all these other small businesses give me these ideas. And why don't you build this, or why don't you make that? And that's where Two Little Sunshines is going. We're expanding, and I'm super proud of it.
That's great. You said you started with breastfeeding covers.
Yeah.
How did that start? Did you make one for yourself, I assume, and then somebody was like, "Hey, that's really cool. Can you make me one?" Is that how it
My
started?
mom made me one for the
Oh,
girls,
okay.
and I loved it. And I guess that bonding thing. I'm more of the conservative, like cover myself up sort of thing, and just wanted to do that. So like, here's one, and I decided to make it like reversible and make it like a pocket for the breast pads that the mother would have. Because I was like, where do I always put that? I don't know where to put that. That's kind of gross. Hide that.
Well, that's great. And so, and then the aprons came out of just making matching ones for your daughter, and I went to your Etsy shop, and I saw that you had these vendor aprons. Tell me a little bit about that. Where did that idea come from?
So another small business locally said, well, I'm not going to use your kitchen aprons. What if you were to make us vendor aprons, since we're all small businesses, And I was like, well, that's a really good idea, especially from my point of view, not having anyone to help me assist and keep the cash box safe. So I did some research, figured out, grabbed some ideas from like, what would you want to see as a vendor apron? And I just sort of, designed it to the point where it comes with like its own zipper for cash, business card holder, pen pocket. You can tie it around your waist. There's a key loop for your keys and stuff.
Very
So
cool.
it's everything around, your waist, and then you can walk around and not worry like, oh, someone's gonna steal my cash while I'm at an event or something. Like, it's on your
Sure.
body. So now I found out like I can make custom fabric. So if a small business wanted like their logo, I can put it on there.
Very cool.
Thank you.
That's really cool. I can imagine there's a lot of folks that do like the farmers markets and things of that nature. My wife's uncle is at the Mount Dora Art Festival every year, right? It could be something beneficial for him as he's standing around, walking around. He likes to go talk to folks too, so he wanders away from his tent from time to time.
He'd
Uh,
be perfect. He could wear one.
there you go. So, talk to me a little bit about what were some of the major hurdles when you first started trying to sell a product?
Hey, before we go any further, if you're enjoying this content, please like and subscribe so you can help us get the word out about these amazing people and businesses here in the Orlando area. Don't miss out on upcoming episodes and help out the show. Now let's get back to it.
I'm very big on like trying to leave reviews, and me as a shopper, I like to see reviews. Is this person, legit. It's sad to say that there are those people out there scamming people, and I was very hopeful to get reviews to show that I was a real person doing that. So until those reviews started coming in, or even the word of mouth, you know, that was the hardest part to launch from. But once I got my word of mouth out, especially with the vendor aprons being my best seller, with other vendors, oh, where did you get that? And I just would walk around, make myself known.
Sure.
It was just trying to have people understand that this shop, even though on Etsy I may not have any, sales or reviews yet, but I do have it if you were to look like on my Instagram or the Facebook page, that I make these videos. I do it in house. I cut it myself. It's homemade.
Yeah. Very cool. And what's the vision for the future with this particular company? Do you have a
I
big
want it
plan?
to be
Something scary?
stable. It's
You want it to
scary
be
not
stable.
knowing, I want to have, I don't want to say that fun money, but like
Sure.
it's hard whenever you tell your girls like, oh, like, no, we can't go to Disney, but if Disney keeps raising their prices, like,
Sure.
so just get to that point where it's like stable. And I want everyone to know who Two Little Sunshines is. I want the nostalgic, happy memories to be taken into other households. Oh, where did you get that apron? That's so adorable. Where can I get one?
Yeah. That's a lot of fun. Do your girls help much when you're designing stuff? Do they get to pick out prints and give suggestions?
No.
No. That's okay too. Uh, I assume at some point, do you plan to teach them how to sew? Is that the
Yeah.
goal too?
Yeah. I mean, I feel like, along with knowing how to put oil in a car, in case you have to fix a pair of pants or hem a pair of pants because they don't have your size, at least you can, just go to the sewing machine, fix it real quick, and you're good to go. You don't have to go and buy a different pair of pants. You don't have to wait to find something because, if that sewing machine pulled out 2 minutes, you're good.
Yeah. What are you focusing on now to try to generate new clients?
So I'm super excited about these. Um, they're super adorable. They are my popsicle holders.
Okay.
So you put your ice pop in, and then your hands aren't going to get cold.
Ah, okay.
So it's made from the same material as scuba diving. So it'll insulate the popsicle, but your hands won't get cold. And what's perfect for summer heat? An ice pop. And then with that said, I'm trying to perfect my cup koozies, the
Oh, very
reversibles.
nice.
So trying to perfect those.
I assume that's also with like that neoprene scuba diving material.
No, I have it insulated with a heat, which is inside, so it will be able to withstand like hot coffee. But obviously, cold coffee, you don't have to worry about that. But I did, manage to find what is appropriate to withstand the heat. So that will be good once I can perfect it.
Very nice.
Yes.
And where are you finding most of your new clients?
It's really still word of mouth. I do try to post at least once a day on Facebook and Instagram and send it out. And although my pages are private to protect my girls, and I will look to see if you are real or not real, then I'll accept you. But it's more like still the word of mouth. I post, advertise with Lake Met too. So it's just still trying to get that word out a little bit further.
Gotcha. And where are you? So, what does your week look like as a business owner running, a custom seamstress business? Where do you focus your time throughout the week in order to continue to grow your business?
So this is a perfect time to sew right now, as I have the babysitter on, which is the television for the youngest one. So that's when I can get like at least 2 hours work of sewing done. I'll cut in the evening so that the next day while Catalina's at school, I can just zoop right through. And I have found ways to perfect and manage my time a lot better when it comes to like doing my lines in my sewing, that I'm making the best for my time.
Well, that's great.
Yes.
So, what do you think you could start doing to continue to grow or accelerate your growth there within the business?
I mean, I kind of wish that sometimes at my events, I am always there at the front of my tents explaining real quick, just trying to pull you in exactly what you're seeing. But I think I need to advertise at my tents exactly what there is, so people who are reading that I don't get to say hello to can see, oh, everything's custom made, instead of just hearing me, in case there's people blocking the way, that they can see what is this tent about. I think for me, I need to better advertise while at my events so that those people can see, so I'm not missing opportunities.
Is that something that you're planning to do? Create some signage that folks can see?
Yeah, yes, and I need to invest in one of those A-frames or something, just to
Yeah,
say like custom home sewn various home items.
very cool. When are you hoping to roll that out by?
Well, I have my next event in end of April at Puzzle Ranch for the autism. So I'm super excited to be a part of that. I got them their own little logo patch for their popsicle holders. So I'm hoping to get something for that. And then my next one is actually here at the Howie in the Hills Founders Day, since I'm
Okay.
located in Howie in the Hills. So it's going to be exciting that a local resident will be at the mansion.
Yeah. Where can people normally find you?
Facebook and Instagram. I do ship, or you can do the free local pickup, or if I'm driving your direction, we can meet up, try to save them money, because I want everything to be affordable. So I'm
Sure.
trying to not only help families save that shipping money if it can be done, but still make some sort of a small profit.
Right. Yeah, you have to make profit. If there's no profit, then you're doing it for free, and that's never a good idea, right? So, are you doing a lot of events also? I know that you mentioned a couple of things that are coming up here. Are you typically doing events on a weekly or monthly basis?
I was trying to do monthly. As my last event, I might have picked like the wrong event to do, which did not work out in my benefit. Um, but I still was able to, spread my word, you know, explain who Two Little Sunshines are, especially to other vendors that were there. Try to, get them to my vendor apron situation. But I do try to. It's kind of hard because I do have to take the girls with me, so I have to find that specific event that will accept myself and the two little girls to be with me. They're very good, take toys, lots of snacks. It's a snackathon for them, unfortunately, for that day. But it's just trying to find that nice balance.
Gotcha. It seems like you certainly have a lot on your plate, having being a full time mom, managing that home life for two kids, um, and at the same time trying to get your business up and running. So it sounds like you're doing well. It sounds exciting. The aprons are really cool. The matching aprons and the vendor aprons are really cool. So if you were going to give some advice to somebody else that was thinking about starting a business, what would you tell them?
Don't be scared. Just do it. It takes something that you like, something that you appreciate. Like for me, it was sewing. It I don't know, my mind kind of goes into like this, I don't want to say numb state, but like I'm so focused and it feels good to me, like when I can do
Sure.
that. But don't be scared. Just do it, because there's a lot of communities I have found and now have made friends, and those friends therefore have helped me, spread my word, spread my vision. So don't be scared. I mean, I was, but I decided to just, take that leap of faith, and I just did it.
That's great. That's so great. Do you read a lot? Do you find yourself reading a lot for personal growth or anything like that?
I try to read.
Yeah.
It doesn't work all the time. I like to read. I have been reading for like the longest time. Bad Blood?
Okay.
Yes.
Very cool.
So
Well, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing with us about Two Little Sunshines. It sounds like you're having a lot of fun with this business, and it's starting to progress. So congratulations. Where was the best place again for people to find out more about you?
Instagram or Facebook, and it's still the number 2, LIL Sunshines, 2 Lil Sunshines.
Awesome. Okay.
Yes.
Well, hey, Holly, thanks so much for being with us today. And thank you, everyone, for listening to the show this far. We'll see you around Central Florida.
Thank you. Bye.